It's wonderful to have you on the show. Welcome, Harrison Ford.
Thank you very much for having me.
So this is the 5th Indiana Jones, and there's one particular sentence the German audience will really love. It says, you're German, don't try to be funny.
Funny, yeah.
So do we have such a terrible reputation about our humor?
Not yet. Not yet. But the movie's coming out next week.
Yes, but someone came up with this phrase.
Huh? Well, I was just at Stern, and they remarked, the journalists who work there, one of them remarked on that line in the movie. So I asked them if anyone there knew a good German joke for me. And I was told a good German joke, but I didn't get it.
So it was not that good.
There are some very funny Germans.
Have you met some?
I'm waiting to meet them.
Okay.
I know they're out there, of course.
The first Indiana Jones was 1981. Already the Nazis were your enemies. So now, 40 years later, the Nazis again are your enemies. So what is it about Indiana Jones and the Nazis?
Well, it's about hearkening back to a time when the world was black and white. There were good guys and bad guys, and you could tell one from the other instantaneously. And then, so that's the beginning of the film is in 1944. It's about 20 minutes long. It's a typical way an Indiana Jones film always starts, with a story that's completely disconnected. But this time it's a little bit connected to the main story that we're going to tell. But we meet the MacGuffin, the object of our quest, in 1944. And you see Indiana Jones 40 years old.
Yes.
Which I was when they photographed me.
We have a picture of this technique. It's called de-aging.
We call it anything you want, but
it looks great.
I call it miraculous because it's not photoshopped face. Yeah. This is the actual face. Huh?
How does it work?
I'm just a face maker. I don't know how they make it work. But it's brilliant, and so we meet Indiana Jones in a familiar form to us from the last movies.
So we are not going to too much about the movie because people should go there and really watch it. But I was told that it was important for you that aging and age plays a role in the movie. Why? Because I got older and I still wanted to make another Indiana Jones movie. I wanted to be about age. I wanted to see this character who's depended so much on physical capacity, on adventure. I wanted to see him robbed of that vigor, facing the consequences of his life, and then, in order to introduce the character of Phoebe Waller-Bridge plays, and to see him reanimated, brought back to near youthful operating speed. Sounds like you had fun.
I had a ball. I mean, I love playing the character. I love making this kind of movie. I like the mix of adventure and humor and really strong emotional undercurrent going on in this film as well, which is really gratifying for me to have get the chance to work with those emotional tools.
There's a lot of self-irony about aging. So can you laugh about the limitation aging presents?
Watch this.
Wow. So how is it in real?
In real life, it's, I feel lumpy. It's okay. Walk around for a few minutes in the morning and everything shakes out.
Well, we can see you shirt off in one of the scenes of the movie. So
I wanted the vulnerability that you see. The man wakes up in his lounge chair,
in front of the television,
in his underwear, with an empty glass in his hand. You can imagine, his state, but the audience. It's just one of the most brilliant film cuts I think I've ever seen. I love that part of the movie.
But it looks like you do keep in shape. So is it important to stay in a physical shape as an actor, as a person for you?
Oh, I don't know about staying in physical shape as an actor. I mean, I just.
Well,
I like to ride bikes, road bikes, and mountain bikes, and I like to play tennis.
Mm-hmm.
I've got two bad shoulders yet right now, so I haven't been riding my bike or playing tennis.
What happened to your shoulders?
Oh, I was actually trying to show our director and the cinematographer a little gag. I have my hat in one hand and putting on my jacket, and I'm running away from bad guys. And I see him for the first time. I wanted to put my hat in his face and then hit him. Mm-hmm. So I was asking Jim and Faden, the cinematographer, to stand there, and so the punch is going to come from here like that. And the guy who was standing there, one of the crew members, so that I asked to stand there, got interested in something else, and I was doing this just about that fast. And he stepped forward, and I pulled back, and I ripped the subscap muscles off my shoulder.
Talking about aging.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But,
not for sissies.
but you survived some things like a plane crash. I think it was 2015. I was wondering if playing this kind of roles...
I didn't crash. The plane crashed.
Well, the engines...
It was mechanical. The
engine
stopped.
Yeah. So it was not you, the pilot.
No.
Only the technique. Anyway, you survived, which is a good news. But does filming like you do help in a situation like that? I mean, everybody would, panic. Indiana Jones would stay cool. So did you stay cool in this situation?
I've been flying for 25 years at that point, I think. And you train for such an event, mm-hmm. and one day it happens, But I had many wonderful mentors in aviation. Mm-hmm. It's a community of pilots that look after their own, And there's a wonderful air show pilot, a famous wartime hero named Bob Hoover. And I could hear him when the engine quit. I immediately declared an emergency, talking on the radio to the airport I just left. They gave me an instruction which was impossible to
fulfill,
to follow.
Ah.
I said, they said, join the traffic pattern for runway 21. I said, I need the airspace off of 3, which is the other end of the runway, because it was closer. And that's the last thing I remember. But I could hear my mentor whispering in my ear, saying in my ear, it was like it was real, fly the airplane as far into the crash as possible, which is Bob Hoover's advice to me. And
saved your life, obviously.
It did.
I know that you've been active since 30 years now in protecting the environment. I was wondering, did this change your own way of lifestyle? Talking about flying, I mean, do you fly less since we all know that this is such a, critical thing to the environment?
I try to be as careful as possible. Mm-hmm. I have, people say you're an environmentalist, you have a number of airplanes. I say, yes, that's true, but I only fly one at a time. And although aviation does make a contribution to global warming, every use of fossil fuel does. Mm-hmm. It is one does the best you can with the equipment that you use, which is as efficient as possible. Mm-hmm. And there's there's a way of using aircraft to do work, mm-hmm. and some of that work is crucial to be done. Yeah. And I tried to mitigate against my use of fossil fuel by devoting time, energy, and money
Yes.
to really addressing the issues of climate change. You know, we are really in a very good position if we understand one really important thing. 1/3 of the standing forest and sequestered carbon is already protected, but it's under threat. It's under the indigenous people who are the guardians of most of that land are under threat from agricultural interests, cattle
Farming, yeah.
farming, many other practices, palm oil production. But if we are only able to just protect that 1/3 of the planet, we are closer to our goal. If the indigenous people who are the stewards of that land can control that land, that's in the bank. That's in nature's bank. But we've got to maintain the capacity of nature to sustain human life. Because without what nature does for us, we cannot do it for ourselves. We cannot make water clean again after it's been polluted. We can't make the air clean. We can't pollinate our crops. We can't find and discover new medicines in the forest unless we protect nature's capacity to protect us.
You have been speaking publicly on many occasions about this issue. I would like to show the audience in Germany one part of a speech you delivered in 21 in Marseille to talk about it.
It's hard to watch the rise of nationalism in the face of a global threat that requires global cooperation, global action. It's hard to read the headlines, floods, fires, famines, plagues, and tell your children that everything is all right. It's not all right. Damn it, it's not all right.
You really seem to be upset, and there's many angry people in Germany. It's the young ones. They accuse our generations that we didn't do enough, and they have interesting activities and actions. For example, you met them maybe in London on the Star Wars premiere in 2019. They delivered a protest like this one. Do you think these young people with even radical actions, this was not radical, they have a right to do so?
They have an obligation and a right. And at the end of that speech, I said the best thing we can do right now for our young people is to get the hell out of their way.
And let them do it.
Well, I don't mean to leave them alone with our, you know, our dirty laundry. I mean, we need to help them. We need to offer our advice, our counsel, our money, our commitment. We owe them that.
Could you explain to German audience, because many of us don't really understand why a guy like Donald Trump, being what he is, why so many people follow him?
Because there's a purposeful business opportunity in disaggregating us, taking a political unit, the voting population of the United States, dividing us into tribal communities, setting us against each other with constant, you know, bullshit. And we've lost the middle. We've lost the commitment to each other, to figure these things out and to make the lives of our children more secure. this is purposefully done, you know, by business, some business, and mostly in the area of media, so that you have one very strong political constituency that you feed all the time. And then the other side does that same old thing, and
we can do nothing
we've lost the common ground. We got to get that back, and it's happening all over the world.
It does.
This rise of nationalism, what I was talking about there, that's the most important, critical thing to me.
Yes, you are a kid of the Cold War, born '42 in Chicago, so you experienced some tough times already. Do you think the world today is a much more dangerous place than at the time where the atomic threat was for real already? What do you think?
Yeah, it's the aberrations of violence in our societies, and not just in the United States, around the world. You over and over again.
We have a war going on.
Gun
not
violence.
So far from here.
Yeah, and there's
Ukraine.
And it's absolutely, it's impossible to wrap your head around the fact that 250 miles away, or was it, there's a full-scale war going on, and it is somehow tolerable.
Is it?
Well, the world community has not stepped up and made it impossible to do this sort of thing. I don't know why.
Some are trying.
Many are trying, and many are losing their lives, and on both sides for no good reason.
Many of us would like to have a dream, especially in times like this, tough times. I want to show you a picture from the Oscars this year. It shows you and the winner of one of those Oscars, Huy Quan. And you played with him in Indiana Jones 2 in 1984.
Yes.
He's talking about the American dream. He was a refugee and he came to the States, and now he's on this stage getting the award. That was an emotional moment for you too.
My journey started on a boat. I spent a year in a refugee camp. And somehow, I ended up here on Hollywood's biggest stage. They say stories like this only happen in the movies. I cannot believe it's happening to me. This is the American dream.
So do you think it is still alive, this kind of American dream where you can make it from refugee to the stage? Is this the America you would want to be?
And so we're having major battles about immigration reform.
Which is
and again, there's
topics.
two camps solidly against the other. And immigration has always been such an American opportunity. And that's what the Statue of Liberty is all about, welcoming immigrants to America.
Your ancestors came from Ireland, for example. So
Well, my father came from Ireland. My mother was a Russian Jew.
So everybody should go at least. And of course, watch a brilliant movie, which is going to be in German cinemas from Tuesday. Just the last question.
May I encourage the audience to go see this movie in a theater?
Yes.
The first time. I mean, there's something humanizing about going into a dark place with strangers and watching something and feeling, despite whatever your political conscience is, whatever your racial profile, whatever your sexual profile is, it's dark in here, man. Everybody's a stranger, and the music comes up and the story starts and you get caught up in the story. And I think one of the most spectacular effects is you feel the common humanity of everybody in the dark with you. And it makes you feel human.
That's a very good point. Is it the last Indiana Jones you're going to be playing? Or is there a possibility?
You talking to me?
Yeah, of course.
You talking to me?
Who else?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's my last one.
Let's see.
Huh? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Too bad. We recommend it to our audience, and we are so thankful to have had you on this show. Thank you so much, Harrison Ford.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
My pleasure.
Thanks.